I painted the same northern lights 4 different times, not to practice landscapes but to test something much more important: water ratios. Because in watercolor, a tiny change in water can completely change the final painting. In the first attempt, I used too much water and very little pigment. At first, the colors looked soft and beautiful, but slowly the entire aurora lost its glow. The painting became pale, almost washed away. So I tried again. This time, the moisture on the paper was uneven and hard edges started appearing everywhere. Part stays soft, while the others dried too quickly. The sky no longer felt atmospheric. Third attempt, I thought I finally understood the balance, but then I added more water at the wrong moment. And suddenly, the blooms appeared. The paint started pushing itself outward, creating textures that I never intended. You won't see it here because the paper is still wet. I will show you at the end how the blooms have started appearing here in my third attempt. So, 3 attempts, 3 completely different paintings using the same colors, the same paper, and the same brush. The only thing changing here was the water ratio. So, for the final painting, I slowed down. I watched the shine on the paper carefully. I controlled the moisture on my brush and I waited for the surface to become more damp. Not soaking wet, not dry, and finally the aurora started glowing the way I imagined. Soft edges, controlled movement, enough flow, without losing the shape of the light. That's when I realized something: most watercolor beginners don't actually struggle with technique, they struggle with water. Because watercolor changes with every extra drop, and learning to see those changes changes everything. Since this landscape came so perfectly, I can't help but paint more. I have started adding pine trees, and later I will add a few stars in the sky as well. This experiment reminded me that watercolor is less about controlling paint and more about understanding water. Sometimes the difference between a failed painting and a beautiful one is just a few drops of water. Looking back at all 4 paintings, the first one failed because there was simply too much water, the colors became too diluted, and Aurora lost its glow. The second attempt failed because the paper was drying unevenly. Some areas stayed wet while the others dried too fast, and that created unwanted hard edges. And for the third attempt, I introduced extra water at the wrong moment, which caused blooms and backruns, as you can see. And for the fourth attempt, everything finally came together. The paper was damp, the brush had enough moisture, and the pigment consistency was balanced. The colors moved softly without losing their shape. That's what made the final aurora finally glow the way I imagined. So, this is it for today's video. I will see you guys in my next one. Thank you so much for watching.